My best friend asked me to take care of his sister who had a cold. I gave her a vitamin C pill. The woman frowned. What did you give me? I joked. An aphrodisiac. That night, her body burned with fever. She ran into my room. It's so uncomfortable. Is the medicine taking effect? I laughed, but she still held me tight without letting go. That night, we were immersed in passion to the fullest. I didn't expect that she was not only older, but in other aspects, she was also very skilled. When we came to our senses, she blushed and said I had to take responsibility. We naturally followed our feelings, becoming a famous couple in school. My best friend was also ecstatic. Every year, he asked me, when would I become his real brother-in-law? She hugged me. Her eyes full of affection said, this very year, but right before the wedding. My best friend and I were returning to school after watching a movie. We encountered a group of robbers. They had vicious faces, cornering us in an alley, forcing us to hand over all our money. In the end, my friend used all his strength to hold them back, so I could escape. But when I ran at full speed to the opposite street, called for help, on the ground only remained my best friend with broken legs, covered in blood, without breath. After that day, Xia Yunshu only hated me. The Xia family wouldn't forgive me. They canceled our engagement, not allowing me to attend my best friend's funeral. I hated myself, wishing that the one who died that day was me. But now I can only atone. So I became Xia Yunshu's assistant, working tirelessly on all heavy tasks every day to help her secure contracts. I drank alcohol until I had a stomach hemorrhage, many times nearly losing my life. Once I suddenly vomited a large mouthful of blood when I went for a medical checkup. Only then did I discover I had mid to late stage cancer. For the first time, I was terrified. Anxiously, I sought out Xia Yunshu, wanting comfort like before, but I accidentally saw a man who was in Xia Yunshu's Maybach, moving up and down. The man with a hoarse voice. Yunshu, I hate that assistant beside you. When will you fire him? Xia Yunshu paused for a moment, coldly said, don't worry, we're about to get married. He can't affect us. Moreover, he caused my brother's death. I only hate that I can't make him die. Hearing this, I only felt my heart bleeding. I turned around and took a taxi back to the hospital. Doctor, I won't undergo treatment anymore. I am ready to donate all my organs. The doctor was surprised, advised, are you sure? You only need to actively treat it. You can still prolong your life, but if you give up treatment, then you only have less than a few months left. I didn't need to think. Immediately shook my head. I am certain. I should have died long ago. This way, I can face CIU and apologize. And Xia Yunshu can also be completely free. After that day, I pretended to be normal as usual. Still went to the company to work every day. Xia Yunshu still made me drink alcohol daily, dozens of glasses each night. I was in pain to the point my face turned pale, but I still endured. Until the party ended, I ran to the bathroom to vomit violently. This time I passed out. When I woke up, I found myself lying on my bed at home. My clothes had been changed. Someone was watching by the bedside. It was He Xiaoyu. He Xiaoyu was my college friend. Over the years, she had always silently taken care of me. At this moment, she held the crumpled test results, reading each word over and over again. He Xiaoyu was a doctor. Of course, she knew what those test results meant. Her eyes were red. Trembling, she asked, you have stomach cancer. She felt as if a knife was cutting her heart. Immediately grabbed my hand. You can't continue like this. You must leave her immediately and go to the hospital for treatment. But I withdrew my hand. I tried to force a smile. It's not that serious. Don't worry. I will take care of myself. Seeing my serious expression, He Xiaoyu knew she couldn't persuade me. She knew even better. Xia Yu's death last year was an insurmountable wound in my heart. He Xiaoyu couldn't force me. Stayed to take care of me for one night. Only returned to the hospital early the next morning. As for me, I also hurriedly went to work at the company. Today, I had to accompany Xia Yunshu to attend a party, but I wasn't her boyfriend, just going along as an assistant. Xu Zechuan was her boyfriend. Seeing me, Xu Zechuan was full of contempt. Yi Huaiqing, I really admire you. Still thick-skinned enough to follow Yunshu around. I didn't object, just stood silently to one side. At this moment, Xia Yunshu came over. Xu Zechuan easily put his arm around her. Yunshu, Xia Yunshu didn't object, but when she looked towards me, her eyes turned several degrees colder. Who allowed you into the banquet hall? Go outside and wait. The capital had entered winter. Outside, there was no heater, only cold wind, but I just nodded. Yes. After speaking, I turned and left the banquet hall. Outside was an outdoor garden, without a single tile for shelter. I just stood in the cold wind, my thin figure trembling. Some service staff saw and couldn't bear it. Asked if I wanted to go to the restroom. I silently shook my head. I stood like that until dark, until the party ended. Xia Yunshu wearing Xu Zechuan's coat came out. The two saw that I was still standing outside. Her eyes moved slightly, her voice becoming hoarse in an inexplicable way. Why are you blocking the way? Aren't you going to leave? She held Xu Zechuan's hand and left. I followed behind them. When passing the artificial lake in the garden, Xu Zechuan's lips curled into a smile, staggering forward a few steps, pretending as if someone had pushed him. Oh, my watch fell into the lake. He angrily turned his head to look at me. Who told you to push me? I instinctively objected. I didn't. You're still denying it? Xu Zechuan put his arm around Xia Yunshu. Yunshu, that was my favorite watch. Xia Yunshu's eyes lingered on me, not knowing for how many seconds, before softly saying, "Jump in and find it," without asking anything, directly condemning me. I looked at the lake. Just one glance. It was bone-chilling cold. But I still silently went down into the lake. The lake wasn't deep, up to my knees, but the winter lake water was freezing cold. Each step was like walking barefoot on ice blades. I was already weak. After searching for a while, my body began to tremble violently. Xia Yunshu only looked for a few seconds, then turned away, leaving with the words, "If you don't find it, don't come tomorrow." After saying that, she led Zhu Zexuan away. I stood alone in the lake. A feeling of indescribable loneliness welled up inside me. I bent down and searched all night, finally finding that watch. Dawn broke. I stood up trembling. My whole body was frozen purple, but I didn't care about all that. Hurriedly took the watch and ran to the Xia Corporation building. Xu Zexuan was in his office, taking the watch, but only looked at it with disdain. All muddy. "It's all dirty now. I don't want it anymore." After saying that, he threw the watch into the trash. Xia Yunshu also just glanced at it, indifferently said, "If you don't like it, then forget it. I'll buy you a new one." Su Zexuan smiled brilliantly. "Yunshu, you're so good." I walked out soaking wet. The CEO's office staff saw me like that and were no longer surprised. Over the years, I don't know how much suffering I've endured. They all don't know why I still persist in staying. I didn't even ask for a single day off. Just casually took 2 cold pills, then went with Xia Yunshu for an inspection. Several days passed, because I was never treated. Plus, I often drank alcohol that irritated my stomach. My condition was getting more and more serious, but each time I just carelessly took 2 pills to get by. Today is the weekend. I lay on the sofa in pain to the point I dared not move. At this moment, I received a call from Xia Yunshu. "Zexuan wants to eat meat buns from Chen's shop. Go buy him a portion." As Xia Yunshu's assistant, I never had a day off. As long as she needed me, I had to work immediately. But today, I was really in too much pain to get up. Could I ask Assistant Wang to buy them first? But before I could finish, Xia Yunshu coldly interrupted me. "Yi Hu Wai Qing, did I say you have a choice?" I gasped for breath. Couldn't say another word. Either go, or never appear again. After saying that, she directly hung up the phone. I could only try to endure the pain, get up and stagger out the door. The quiet bun shop was located on a remote street, but it was very crowded. I queued for a full 3 hours before finally buying a portion. But when I hurriedly ran to Xia Yunshu's house, gave the buns to her. Su Zexuan was again cold-faced. "Who told you to put chili in?" I was in so much pain I could hardly breathe. "I don't you like spicy food?" Zhu Zexuan immediately dumped the buns with his left hand. "I don't like spicy food anymore." Xia Yunshu looked at me intently. "Go buy more." I could only hurry out again. The second time, when I brought them back, Yu Zexuan complained there was dried shrimp inside. Xia Yunshu seemed not to notice that he was deliberately making things difficult for me, just indifferently told me to go buy more. So I ran back and forth several times. The last time I bought them, it was already dark. I held the carefully wrapped package of buns, weakly walking back. My stomach sent waves of severe pain. My steps were all staggering. My mind was hazy. I couldn't see the road ahead clearly. I only heard, suddenly, a sharp horn blaring next to my ear. I was knocked down hard by a small truck, rolling several times, under such an impact. I couldn't hold it in anymore, suddenly vomiting a large mouthful of blood. Amid the fresh blood came the fragrance of the buns falling to the ground. Everything before my eyes turned into snowflakes. Blurry, then I completely lost consciousness. At the hospital, He Zhao Yu saw the person push from the ambulance. It was me again. Her eyes suddenly trembled. She called several times, "Yi Huai Qing, Yi Huai Qing," but the person on the bed had no response. But I continued to vomit blood. Even the chief doctor was shocked. Could it be internal organ rupture? He, Zhao Yu, anxiously opened her mouth. "He has stomach cancer." The doctor's face immediately changed. Hurriedly pushed me into the emergency operating room. A few hours later, the surgery ended, but it only stopped the bleeding from my external wounds caused by the accident. All the equipment was showing. My vital signs were decreasing. He Zhao Yu was extremely panicked. "Professor, what's wrong with him?" The professor shook his head. "Late-stage stomach cancer. His body was already very weak. The car accident caused his organs to weaken prematurely. On the hospital bed, I didn't wake up, just kept coughing up blood, and unconsciously repeatedly calling a name. Yunshu, Xia Yunshu." I looked like I was about to take my last breath at any moment. He Zhao Yu, with red eyes, gripped my hand tightly, voice choked with sobs. "Huaiqing, hang on. I beg you to hang on. I'll call her to see you. Wait a little longer. Wait a little longer." After saying this, she tremblingly took out my phone, called Xia Yunshu. The other end answered. A cold voice came through. "Yi Huaqing, I told you to buy buns. You can't make it back?" He Zhao Yue clenched both hands. "It's me, He Zhao Yu." The person on the other end was silent for a few seconds, then spoke in a deep voice. "Why are you holding his phone?" He Zhao Yu looked at the heart monitor. The heartbeat gradually approaching 0. Her voice trembling, word by word. "Come to the hospital. See Yi Huaying one last time." The other end was silent again. Who knows for how long? Xia Yunshu coldly laughed. "He Zhao Yu, did he ask you to help him act?" He Zhao Yue hated Xia Yunshu so much, she could kill her. Sobbing loudly, "Yi Huai Yi." But but the next second, she was pulled back by a weak hand. Looking down, she saw the person who had just been in a coma was now awake. I weakly shook my head, used my lips to tell her not to let her come, and at this moment on the monitoring screen, my heartbeat began to slowly increase again. The voice from the other end came hoarse, from Xia Yunshu. How is he? But he, Zhao Yu, didn't have time to explain. Seeing the heartbeat increase, overjoyed, she hung up the phone, quickly ran to call the professor. After a series of tests, the doctor took off his mask, sweating with relief. His vital signs have recovered. Quickly push him to the observation room. Then I was pushed into the observation room, and on the other side, Xia Yunshu, after having He Zhao Yue hang up on her, stared at the phone for a very long time. Su Zechuan saw that she was distraught over me again. His eyes flickered with jealousy. Yunshu, they must be conspiring together to trick you. I just want to get your attention. After so many years, hasn't Yi Huaiqing played enough of these games? After speaking, he tried to hold Xia Yunshu's hand, but because she suddenly stood up, he missed. Xia Yunshu calmly said, I still have unfinished work. You go home first. Su Zechuan had thought he could finally stay overnight today. Hearing this, he could only leave angrily. In the study, Xia Yunshu looked at her computer, but only felt her heart in turmoil. She couldn't calm down at all. Finally, she called another assistant. Check where Yi Huaiqing is now. She heard her own voice trembling. The assistant responded yes. 15 minutes later, the assistant called back. Director Xia, Assistant Yi had an accident a few hours ago. He's currently at Mingan Hospital, but he's out of danger now. Xia Yunshu held the phone, saying nothing for a very long time. So long that the assistant couldn't help asking, Do you want to visit him? Xia Yunshu was silent for a long time, but only said, Don't let him know. I asked. The assistant, a bit confused, said, Yes. Then the phone was hung up. Xia Yunshu said nothing more. Only that night, the study light stayed on all night. The next day at the hospital, my spirits were a bit better. He Zhao Yu had been watching over me. She almost begged me, Huaiqing, you really can't drag this out any longer. You must be hospitalized for chemotherapy immediately. Otherwise, you won't be able to hold on much longer. But I just smiled and shook my head. That would be great. I've been looking forward to that day. He Zhao Yu was completely stunned. Her chest ached, her voice trembling. Do you really have to punish yourself like this? Death is not a punishment for me. He Zhao Yu. Thank you for always being by my side over the years. If you really want what's best for me, let me decide for myself. I am begging you. Since last year, my soul has completely died. Now finally, it's my body's turn. Just a few days later, I ignored He Zhao Yu's objections, hurriedly wanting to leave the hospital because Xia Yu's death anniversary had arrived. I carried a bouquet of chrysanthemums to the cemetery. I stood before the tombstone, looking at the handsome young man in the black and white photo. He was so young, so handsome, so kind, but his life had forever stopped on that day. Hey you, I guess you don't want to see me, right? Over the years, I've dreamed of you every night. Every night in dreams, I apologize to you. I really want to go back to that day. If I could go back, I definitely wouldn't run. I sat down on the ground, leaning against the tombstone, just like when we used to discuss secrets. You know what? I'll soon be able to join you, but I am afraid. I am afraid you don't want to see me. Afraid you also hate me. The cold wind whistled through the cemetery. I caressed his photo. An indescribable pain rose in my heart. I said hoarsely, No matter if you hate me or not, I will still come find you. We promise to be best friends for life. I stayed at the cemetery for a long time, about to leave. When I saw a group of people coming from the opposite direction, my legs instantly froze. Among the crowd, Xia Yunshu also saw me immediately. This was the first time we'd met since my accident. She saw the flowers in front of Xia Yu's tomb. Her eyes suddenly became somber, and the next second, Mother Xia beside her saw me, immediately went over excitedly and grabbed me. Mother Xia angrily slapped me. Who allowed you to come here? Get out of here. I was slapped until I saw stars. Couldn't help but take a step back. Auntie, I just came to visit. Mother Xia shouted loudly. Shut up. You're not worthy of visiting him. Yu was killed because of you. Get out of my sight. My left cheek quickly swelled red. I endured the pain without daring to speak. Father Xia hurriedly embraced Mother Xia, who was agitated. Yi Huaiqing, please leave. Don't come again. But Mother Xia still wasn't satisfied. She glanced at the flowers on the ground, immediately broke free from Father A's arms, picked up the flowers and hit me hard with them, crying miserably. We don't need you pretending to visit him. If that year you hadn't run away. If that year you had stayed to help him. How could you have died so miserably? You drunkard! You abandoned him. Let him be beaten to death by 5 drunk men. When he died, his whole body didn't have a single piece of intact flesh. Mother Xia hated me to the core, although everyone knew. Even if I hadn't run that year, the final result would have been both of us in trouble. It's just that Xia Yu died so horribly that it made everyone blinded by hatred. They resented that I didn't let Xia Yu go first that year. They made those drunk men never get out of prison. As for me, I also had to live in torment forever, never able to escape. Mother Xia cried while hitting me, not holding back at all. My Au. He was so young. He was so handsome. He was so kind. Why did you have to run? Why did you leave him alone there? Finally, she pushed me while crying. Why was it you who died? Why aren't you dead yet? I was. pushed and staggered, my head hitting another tombstone, my forehead streaming with fresh blood. Xia Yunshu's fingers suddenly clenched tight. After I staggered to my feet, she forcefully pulled my arm, "Mother," in front of you. "Don't get upset. I'll drive him away right now." After saying this, she pulled me outside. Outside the cemetery, she threw me down forcefully. Xia Yunshu's eyes were pitch black, gritting her teeth. "Do you want to die? I've warned you. Never come here again." Her eyes also carried anger, but seemed to contain something else. I bitterly spoke. "I want to see you." Xia Yunshu spoke somberly. "You're not worthy." After saying this, she suddenly turned and went back into the cemetery, leaving her bodyguard to drive me away. The words "you're not worthy" were like a knife stabbing into my heart. I staggered away. I walked on the road, my face full of tears. In my ears echoed Xia Yu's clear voice. "Huaiqing, these watches, one for me, one for you, will be best friends for life. Don't you dare abandon me." "Huaiqing, yesterday, I saw my sister choosing wedding rings. She's planning to propose. Later, when she takes care of you, it will be harder to meet up with you. Tonight, let's go watch a movie." "Huaiqing, run quickly. Run quickly." My tears had long filled my face. "You, do you know how much I regret not standing in front of you that day, not letting you go? If I had been the one to die, there wouldn't be so many sad people. A person with no father, no mother. Death is just death. If I had died at that moment, Xia Yunshu might have loved me forever. We wouldn't have come to this point." The more I thought, the more painful it became. Finally, I couldn't bear it anymore. Emotions like a flood breaking through a dam. I crouched down on the ground and cried out loud. The next day, I requested leave. I went to a temple. Near the capital, there's a South Mountain temple said to be very sacred. Over the years, I had been to South Mountain Temple countless times, each time kneeling for a long time before Buddha, praying for Xia Yu to be reborn in paradise, praying for Xia Yunshu's peace and health. But in the future, I might not have the chance to come again. This time, I knelt under the Bodhi tree at South Mountain Temple. According to legend, if one could prove their sincerity, then one could request rare treasures from the temple. By evening, suddenly heavy snow fell. The snow and wind beat against my body. I was cold to the point of dizziness. My whole body experienced intense pain. So painful that despite the cold weather, my forehead broke out in sweat, beads of sweat. I kept shaking. Finally, with a puff sound, I vomited the first mouthful of blood, but I still didn't stand up. I knelt for a day and a night. Early morning, the monk in the temple saw half my body covered in snow. He walked towards me, then discovered there was blood on the snow. Amitabha Buddha, devotee, with such sincere prayers. What do you seek? My face was pale white. I stood up unsteadily, put my palms together in respect. I wish to request a pair of longevity candles and a peace talisman. Longevity candles, they say, if placed before the spirit tablet of the deceased, they can bless the person to have no worries or sorrows in the next life. I received the items, immediately trembling, went to the company. This was the only thing I could give them before leaving, but I knew Xia Yunshu wouldn't accept gifts from me, so I could only wait until noon when no one was around. Secretly placed the longevity candles on Xia Yunshu's desk and the peace talisman. I planned to wait for a chance to secretly put it in her car. Downstairs, I didn't leave. I wanted to know if Xia Yunshu would take the longevity candles home. So I waited at the bottom of the company building for her to finish work. At 5:30 in the evening, Xia Yunshu came down, holding the bag with my longevity candles. My eyes lit up, but then I saw her directly hand the bag to her assistant, pointing in one direction. That was the direction to the trash. I immediately followed the assistant, indeed saw him go to a nearby dump, about to throw away the longevity candles. I immediately panicked. Seeing the assistant about to throw away the longevity candles, hurriedly ran over. "Don't throw them away." I grabbed the bag from his hand, but found nothing inside. Right after that, from behind came Xia Yunshu's cold voice. "I knew it was you." My mind went blank. Slowly turning around, I saw the longevity candles still in her hand. The assistant had already left. Xia Yunshu held the longevity candles and walked towards me, her voice cold as bone. "You owe age you. You think doing these foolish things can repay it?" I didn't explain anymore. With a trembling voice, I said, "I just wanted to give him one last gift." But Xia Yunshu directly broke the longevity candles. "Don't need them." I rushed forward trying to stop her, but could only watch helplessly as they broke in half, thrown into the trash by Xia Yunshu. In the movement, without noticing, an object fell from my pocket. Xia Yunshu, quick-eyed and quick-handed, caught it, recognizing it as the peace talisman. Her hands clenched tightly. Then I heard Xia Yunshu's voice mixed with coldness and sarcasm. "Every day talking about atonement, yet praying for peace for yourself. Yi Huai Qing, have you always been so afraid of death?" She laughed coldly, throwing away the object in her hand. The peace talisman fell right into a puddle of water on the ground. "Do you deserve peace? For your entire life, you should be tormented." Leaving those words, Xia Yunshu coldly left. I remained standing in place, staring blankly, and the two items I had painstakingly prayed for were both wasted. Just like my life, coming to the end, it was still all a big empty dream. I picked up the soaked peace talisman. She didn't see. Inside was still hidden a small piece of paper I had placed. "May Xia Yunshu have peace, happiness, and prosperity." The writing had been blurred by water, no longer clear in its original form. A sweet, fishy taste rose in my throat. With tears in my eyes, I swallowed it back. 3 days later, I returned to work at the company. The external wounds from the accident had healed about 80 to 90%, but my stomach cancer was getting more serious by the day. He Zhao Yue came to my home to visit, trying to persuade me again and again, but still couldn't prevent Xia Yunshu that night from taking me to another drinking party. Others all tried to force me to drink. I still drank without missing any. Assistant Yi is truly generous, my stomach burning painfully amidst the noise. Xia Yunshu only silently watched me drink. Finally, this drinking party. I drank from beginning to end. Near the end, I snuck into the bathroom to take 2 pills. Medicine. I endured the pain and returned to the room. I found that inside, the party had ended. Xia Yunshu had left. I was used to it, thinking she had abandoned me again. Silently went outside, planning to take a taxi home, leaving the club, coming into contact with the cold wind, the headlights on the road ahead. In my eyes, everything was a blur. My eyes were drunk. Unconsciously, I walked towards the middle of the road, raising my hand to hail a taxi. The speeding car saw a pedestrian suddenly appear, frantically honked its horn, but I moved slowly. Seeing I was about to be hit, a hand suddenly pulled me back to the sidewalk. The warm breath of a woman continuously blowing on me. Looking up, I saw Xia Yunshu's dark eyes. Trying to get in an accident again? I stared at her blankly, my mind suddenly empty. We were very close to each other. I suddenly remembered many years ago. Several school clubs gathered together at the beach. I had never seen the ocean. Very excited, went to collect shells on the shore. As a result, got pinched by a sea crab. Almost fell. Xia Yunshu hurriedly extended her hand to support me. Our lips met due to momentum. Then I kissed harder and harder. Others were busy admiring the sea. No one noticed. The cold girl of the school was being pressed down and kissed freely by me. The sea breeze, bonfire, friends, the tale of youth. While friends were fully expressing their ambiguous feelings. It had been the most beautiful moment in my life. I don't know if Xia Yunshu remembered anything. For a long time, she didn't let go of my hand. Suddenly from behind came an angry voice. Xu Zechuan came to pick up Xia Yunshu. Seeing this scene, "What are you two doing?" Xia Yunshu finally seemed to wake from a dream. She pushed me away. An unusual expression passed over her face. She didn't say anything, just turned and walked towards Xu Zechuan. "Nothing. Let's go." Xu Zechuan gave me a long stare, taking Xia Yunshu's hand and left. I still stood dumbfounded in place, seemingly completely drunk, yet seemingly still immersed in the memory, until Li Zhao Yu came to find me, finally taking the person who was no longer sober home. Late at night when I just got home, my phone received a faced message. Old classmates from the capital. This Saturday at Blue Moon House, gathering together. After was a long list of tagged people. I saw my name. Also saw Xia Yunshu's name. Both our names, now only appearing together this way. In the group, many people were excited. Everyone responded enthusiastically, seemingly returning to the time just after graduation, when we were still reluctant to part. That Saturday, I attended the class reunion. I wanted to see these people one last time. Wanted to say goodbye to my youth one last time, but I didn't expect Xia Yunshu would also come. She usually didn't like attending these social activities. In the past, it was always me and Xia Yu dragging her along, but today she not only came, she even brought Zhu Zexuan. People drank, sang, chatted. After a while, they started calling for games. Come on, the spinning wheel game. Whoever it points to must complete the truth or dare on it. Xia Yunshu went outside to take a business call. Absent, while I wasn't very familiar with the game, but was still pulled to participate. The wheel spun. The first round pointed at me. On it was a dare. To kiss the next person who enters the door for 10 minutes. I clutched that piece of paper, silent, saying nothing. Xu Zechuan smugly said, "Yi Huai Qing, I know you're dignified. If you really can't play, why not kneel down and shine my shoes? The challenge will be cancelled." I looked at his mocking expression, tightened my fingers, being a person who's about to die. What's wrong with kissing someone? I choose the dare. I calmly spoke. Xu Zechuan wasn't surprised. Instead, his smile deepened. A golden light flashed in his eyes. On the other side of the hallway, Xia Yunshu finished her call, turned around to see a shabby beggar, walking eagerly past, still on the phone bragging to a friend. "I just got a big order. Someone wants to mess with a handsome guy, specifically paying me to kiss him." The beggar hung up the phone and approached the door. He hung up, rubbed his mouth lustfully, ready to push the door. Just as he was about to enter, suddenly grabbed by someone. As a result, Xia Yunshu with a cold face walked in first. Everyone saw it was her who entered. Immediately fell silent. Xu Zechuan's face changed dramatically. How could this happen? I was also a bit shocked looking at Xia Yunshu, whereas Xia Yunshu had an expression of not knowing what was happening. She coldly opened her mouth. "Ah, why is everyone looking at me like this?" Someone hesitantly replied. "Yi Huai Qing got a challenge. He must kiss the first person who enters the door." 10 minutes, Xia Yunshu calmly sat down, clearly not intending to comply. "Nonsense," Xu Zechuan also hurriedly said. Right. Let's skip this round." Everyone knew Xia Yunshu had a fiancé. People hurriedly moved past that night. The reunion ended. Su Zechuan, in a place without people, scolded that beggar. Didn't I tell you to hurry in? The beggar also had a completely innocent face. It's really not my fault. It was that woman who forcefully pulled me away. I even suspect she did it on purpose. Thinking about how Xia Yunshu still protected me, Xu Zhujuan's face was very unpleasant. The two families had been engaged for 2 years. She had never mentioned marriage. The more he thought, the angrier he became. He drove the beggar away, made a phone call. The next day, Xia Yunshu was called home by her parents. Mom, what do you need me for? Mother Xia, somewhat displeased, asked her. Mom wants to ask you, when do you plan to marry Xu Zexuan? You two have been engaged for so long. Xu Zexuan has complained. The Yusu family wants you to get married soon. Xia Yunshu's face didn't change. The company is very busy now. Mother Xia spoke directly. All excuses. Don't think Mom doesn't know. You refuse to marry Zhu Zexuan because you still can't forget that man Yi Huaiqing. Xia Yunshu was drinking tea. Her movement froze. Her face immediately turned cold. Mother Xia saw her like this. Knew she had guessed right. She became even angrier. You and Yi Huaiqing are absolutely impossible. After speaking, she pulled Xia Yunshu in front of Xia Yu's memorial photo. Do you want to marry the man who caused your brother's death? Mom also knows the real culprits who killed AU weren't him, but he indirectly caused AU's death. AU died protecting him. If he hadn't run away, AU wouldn't have died so miserably. There might have been a ray of hope for survival. Our family can't get past this hurdle in our hearts. No matter what, he can never enter our family, unless Mom is also dead. Mother Xia scolded and cried, finally embraced Xia Yu's memorial photo, crying soundlessly, looking at the young, innocent face of Xia Yu in the photo, and the person crying. Xia Yunshu only felt something pressing on her heart, couldn't breathe. She hoarsely said, speaking the truth she had long known. I won't marry Yi Huaqing. Mother Xia immediately said, but that's still not enough. So in front of your brother, promise Mom you'll marry Xu Zexuan. Xia Yunshu was silent for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Finally, she slowly opened her mouth. I will marry Zhu Zexuan. At dawn, Xia Yunshu still stood before her bedroom window, holding a slightly old diamond ring. That was the ring I had proposed to her with years ago. At that time, just a little more. We could have been married. Now she silently looked at the diamond ring, looking for a very, very long time. Finally closing her eyes, she swung her arm and threw the ring away. The ring immediately disappeared into the silent night. A few days later, I had just returned from a hospital checkup. When I saw a car downstairs, Xia Yunshu was leaning against the car, seemingly waiting for me. Like in college, when she waited under my dormitory, I hid the medicine I had just gotten, walked towards her. Are you looking for me? Xia Yunshu raised her eyes to look at me. Suddenly noticed I seemed to have lost a lot of weight. My complexion was also very pale. Her eyes moved slightly, but she didn't ask anything, just took out an invitation card from her bag. I lowered my head to look at the card. The blood in my entire body froze. For a long time, I didn't move, until from above my head came Xia Yunshu's voice. I and Xu Zexuan are getting married soon. Just letting you know. Don't come, and don't congratulate me. My heart sent waves of intense pain. So she hated me. Hated me to the point of never wanting to see me again? I tremblingly accepted the invitation. Finally didn't have the courage to raise my head, to let her see my expression. Just silently nodded. I wish you happiness. Xia Yunshu and Xu Zexuan's wedding would take place a week later. I submitted my resignation to the company. It was quickly approved. Xia Yunshu was about to get married. Also didn't want to see me anymore. I no longer had even the meaning of living to atone. 3 days before her wedding, I checked my assets from over the years. Over the years at the XEI Corporation, I had actually saved quite a bit of money. I sold my house, donated all the money to the Hope Project. 2 days before her wedding, I visited the Beishan cemetery once. I bought a spot next to Xia Yu and instructed the staff. When the time came, my tombstone shouldn't have a name written on it. Anyway, there would be no one to burn incense for me. This way, when the Xia family saw it in the future, they wouldn't know it was me. Also wouldn't be angry. 1 day before her wedding, I began to handle my posthumous affairs. I called people from the garbage collection station, taking everything that belonged to me in the house, all hauled away. Finally, the empty house only left a large cardboard box. Inside were Xia Yunshu's and my high school ID cards, movie tickets from our first date, photos of the two of us together, gifts she had given me, letters we wrote to each other. I lit a fire in a basin, taking these memory-filled objects, things I had flipped through countless times in the late night over the years, all burned. I sat in the empty house until sunrise the next day. Today is Xia Yunshu's wedding day. I staggered to my feet, suddenly saw a pool of bright red on the ground. I touched my face, only then discovered I was bleeding, but I didn't care. Staggered outside. Today is a rare sunny day, but I was still shaking all over. I walked while bleeding. Some passers-by looked at me in shock, but I didn't stop for a single step. Finally stopped at a large bridge. Below the bridge was water so deep you couldn't see the bottom. Must be bone-chillingly cold. I sat at the edge of the bridge, called the hospital. Hello. I will die today. Please help collect my body, then immediately perform organ donation. After calling, I emotionlessly stared at the river, my face covered in blood, but still smiling with the corners of my mouth. Finally, it's about to end. I only felt release. Today is her wedding day. I will sleep at the bottom of the river. This is the best ending I could think of. I smiled and closed my eyes, resolutely jumped, never to meet again. Xia Yunshu, half an hour later, at the wedding venue. Xia Yunshu in her wedding dress stood on the stage, watching Zhu Zexuan in a suit walking towards her. She was in a daze, but in her mind was full of my voice. Huaiqing, what kind of wedding do you want? And the wedding I want is very simple. I want it on a very large grassland, hung with colorful balloons, only inviting our closest friends. Have a you as my best man. The Xia family wedding cannot be simple. Xia Yunshu, who said I'm going to marry you, at that time, we didn't think. In the end, I really couldn't marry her. Before her eyes was only my face. She mechanically proceeded with the ceremony, until the moment they were about to exchange rings. The assistant suddenly hurried over. Director Xia, your phone keeps ringing. Xia Yunshu frowned. Why don't you see what situation this is? The assistant was also in a difficult position, but it had really been ringing for a long time. Afraid it might be something urgent, so she still took the phone. It was an unknown number. She swiped the screen to answer. An angry shout came through the phone. It was He Jiaoyu's voice. Xia Yunshu's face immediately turned cold. He Jiaoyu, you better have a good reason. The other end only said one sentence. Xia Yunshu suddenly turned pale. Thud, with a sound, the phone fell to the ground. The next second, everyone at the scene saw the bride as if she had gone mad, suddenly picking up her wedding dress and running outside. Xu Zexuan on the stage kept calling her, but Xia Yunshu seemed to hear nothing anymore. In her mind was only the sentence just said on the phone. Xia Yunshu Ye Huaiqing is dead. He jumped into the Wenoi River to commit suicide. Capital City. The annual Enterprise Exchange Conference was held as the people sitting below. Everyone was an executive of top companies, but no matter who, looking out, the center of attention was that person, the legendary Xia Yunshu. 3 years' time had polished her to be more outstanding, after separating from the family business and starting her own. From a youth with some achievements, to now becoming a mature, strategically minded executive, she only needed 1 quarter with excellent reports to successfully win her first battle. Now Xia Yunshu relied on, not her family business with deep foundations, but the new industry she successfully pioneered. Do you know, why did the young director Xia start her own business? This rare gossip made the young man very excited. This was his first time coming here, seeing so many big figures. Beside him, the senior colleague still rambled on. You might not believe it. That year, the young director Xia ran away right at her wedding. I don't understand the inside story much. At that time, she left the groom she had loved for many years, directly drove her Panamera and disappeared. The marriages of the rich aren't as simple as we think. Her running away really was like slapping her own parents in the face twice, then slapping the in-laws family twice. Afterwards, the older director Xia used the business to threaten her, so she let it go and stopped working there. Oh my god, this big family secret shocked the young man. So do you know why she ran away? Quickly tell me. Don't make me guess anymore. I said I don't know the inside story, just that someone at the scene said the young director Xia received a call and then ran off. I guess the person she truly loved had something happen to them. Love without being able to have. Forced to pretend to let go. What a grand drama. The young man fearfully looked at the tall woman, very intimidating, standing behind them. His face turned pale, continuously pulling his senior's shirt, the senior still with a face that hadn't finished talking. What are you pulling for? Later be careful, the manager says we're affecting the scene. The young man lowered his head, inwardly sighing that he was about to die. Director Xia, do you need something? Xia Yunshu didn't know how many side stories she had heard standing behind them. She had a cold, distant face, hair reaching her waist, dark black eyes, looking very stern. Where is the bathroom? The senior finally turned around with trembling legs, without smiling. Where is the bathroom? The senior finally turned around with trembling legs. He just regretted being a man, trying to twist his stiff facial muscles to squeeze out a smile, twitching as if having some disease. Director, please follow me. There was no anger scene as predicted. Under his trembling guidance, Xia Yunshu entered the bathroom. He didn't dare move either, standing stiffly at the door waiting for the other's anger. But after Xia Yunshu came out, she just looked at him once, said to herself, "You're right." The man momentarily didn't understand. Xia Yunshu continued, "My lover is dead." Simple words, no different from earth-shattering thunder. He opened his mouth, stared wide-eyed at Yaya Yunshu, wiping her hands clean. Indifferently said, "Your news is quite well informed. Such a waste of talent here. Come work at my company." The senior didn't understand the meaning of this sentence. Is this sarcasm or a serious offer? He knew Xia Yunshu was now running a medical company. His expertise was completely unrelated, head almost touching the ground, but in front of him appeared a white hand, holding a business card. Xia Yunshu's name clearly on it, bringing the young man from earlier along. XE, and couldn't even dream that his gossiping could earn him a job. His hand trembled like being electrocuted, looking at the person on stage with a cold face. Speaking directly to the point, Xia Yunshu, pinching his flesh hard, he muttered, "I must be dreaming, or the big boss wants to pull me under her. Then kill me. I am just CAN. Are you really content being a restaurant manager your whole life? Forget it, I am in." He told this story to Su Xian. Su Xian's reaction was the same as his. Until the party ended, both were still shaking. Su Xian with a tragic face said, brother XE. I heard some more rumors about the young director, Xia. Do you want to hear? Isn't the young director Xia's company related to medicine? I heard. She specifically because her lover died of cancer, so she dedicated herself to researching and doing business in this field. Now the company is developing at a blazing pace. You said the young director Xia told you your news was well informed. She probably wants you to be the fall guy, carrying this anxious uneasiness. They went together for an interview at Xia Yunshu's company. This medical company was named Nian Qing. Without thinking, Su Xian could guess. The character Qing must be the name of the boss lover, holding Xia Yunshu's business card. They didn't even need to wait. The receptionist looked at Su Xian's face, smiled brightly, and said, Director Xia is upstairs waiting for you. The receptionist was very beautiful. Xian's eyes went between him and Su Xian, strangely searching, furrowed his brows tightly. Don't you think that man looks a bit like you? Does he? Su Xian took out his black phone as hack in a minute, order the black phone as the black phone. A mirror, observing again and again, really saw some clues. Indeed, there was some resemblance in the eyes, until they reached Yai Yunshu's office. Su Xian and Zan both understood, whether it was the senior or him. They all resembled one person. That was the photo frame on the boss desk. Inside was clipped an instant photo. Two young men's faces smiling brightly. One somewhat resembled Xia Yunshu. The other resembled a combination of Su Xian and the senior. These must be the young director, Xia's lover and relative. They both thought so. Xia Yunshu seemed to have just returned from a party. Her body still carried a slight smell of alcohol. Frowning, she sat on the sofa. If you want the job, go downstairs to find HR and complete the procedures. Then someone will guide you to familiarize with the work. Salary according to probation period. If you accept, you can go sign the contract for 3 years, as long as she saw someone who somewhat resembled me, whether male or female. Xia Yunshu tried to place them by her side. She didn't do anything to these people. The abbot of South Mountain Temple said, just treat others well. Sexual abstinence and resentment. For the person she missed day and night, recite sutras for their salvation. Can ensure that person won't worry on the path of reincarnation. Like the road to rebirth in the next life will be smooth. Xia Yunshu had accomplished this. She placed those people before her eyes, as if through them, and the face somewhat resembling mine. Seeing that person still living beside her, it seemed that just by doing so, there would be no more nightmares every night. Difficult to sleep peacefully. Xia Yunshu didn't know what rumors circulated about her outside. She also didn't care much, except for the day I died. The sky was clear and cloudless. The capital sky was never clear again. The sun always hid behind layers of clouds all day. In the air, the haziness wasn't just fog, but also smoke and dust, always covering a dark gray around her. She couldn't breathe. Every second felt like drowning. Zhao Yu's red eyes, still clear in her mind, like a red warning light, hanging high above Xia Yunshu, monitoring her every action. Over the past 3 years, she had many dreams. Dreamed of Xia Yu crying and saying, Sister, why didn't you come save me? Also dreamed of me swollen floating on water, smiling and saying to her, Congratulations on your marriage. I wish you happiness. Regret and pain like a raging fire, burning her day and night. Xia Yunshu couldn't sleep, standing by the window. Thousands of lights were on. Could any of those lights still be yours? Breaking ties with parents. Divorcing Shu Zeshuan. Xia Yunshu had nowhere to go. Could only break ties with parents. Divorcing Shu Zeshuan. Xia Yunshu had nowhere to go. Could only return to the house bought when still with me. At that time, she was still in school. Didn't have much money. Only could afford this small 60 to 70 square meter apartment. AU occasionally would come stay. Those were her happiest, most carefree days. The layout of the house was no different from before. It seemed that just by looking up, I would again appear beside her smiling. Hugging her, AU would exaggeratedly take photos, saying, Sister, stop showing off your affection. Now beside her was nothing. The two most important men in her life had both left her. At this moment, the phone rang. The person calling at this hour could only be that person. The woman's voice was very gentle, like young willow buds in spring. Are you still all right? The last checkup was 3 months ago. You must be done with your busy period, right? Xia Yunshu said softly. Let's meet tomorrow afternoon. I guess you can't sleep. Have you run out of sleeping pills? That's right. Can you give me a bit more next time? Xiaona gently said, Yunshu, have you forgotten your previous suicide attempt? Medication cannot exceed the dosage. Prescribing for you, what you need isn't just sleeping pills. You must come tomorrow afternoon. After hanging up, Yunshu helplessly sighed. She rinsed her mouth, removed the watch strap from her wrist. Underneath was a savage wound. She said to the air, Good night, Huaiqing. Good night, AU. But she still couldn't sleep. In the darkness, kneeling beside the bed was a swollen male face, his eyes pitch black, streaming down 2 tears of blood, emitting my voice. Xia Yunshu, why don't you look at me? Why did you force me to drink when you knew I had stomach cancer? Why did you actually just want to kill me? To be friends with your brother? Isn't that right? Xia Yunshu looked at him intently, not showing any fear. I am sorry. Hands tightened around her neck. Xia Yunshu felt suffocated. Her face flushed red, but she smiled. She spoke brokenly. Huaiqing, kill me so I can atone to you both. The strangling marks on her neck were too obvious. Chaona only needed one look to know this was Xia Yunshu's unconscious self-harm behavior when she had just attempted suicide, was brought to the hospital under strict supervision. All things that could harm her were removed from the room by medical staff. Chao Na happened to be her main attending physician. She was the first patient Kiao Na personally took over. In the evening, she had clearly checked the room, but that day somehow she felt uneasy, going straight to open Xia Yunshu's hospital room door. It was already midnight, 12 o'clock at night. Xia Yunshu wasn't in bed. She was sitting in the corner of the bathroom, using a broken piece of the shower head, continuously scraping her wrist. Such a blunt piece of plastic had already cut through her skin. After that time, Xia Yunshu became a key monitoring subject at the hospital. 24-hour surveillance camera above her head. She had no more tools for suicide until Chao Na habitually observed the surveillance screen, discovered she was closing her eyes, using both hands to tightly squeeze her own throat. This wouldn't cause death. Oxygen reduction. When dizzy, Xia Yunshu would naturally let go, but Chao Na was still terrified. Almost didn't dare let Xia Yunshu leave her sight, not even half a step. Half a year later, she was discharged, wearing neat clothes with a body full of scars, again becoming the young director Xia, famous and accomplished, but Chao Na still kept in touch with her. She tried to keep her voice gentle and calm. Last night you dreamed of Yi Huiqing again, didn't you? Xia Yunshu gave her a strange look. That's right. She put down the hot milk cup. He wanted to kill me, wanted to take me with him. I agreed, but every time, Huiqing softened his heart. Her delusion clearly hadn't lessened, each time thinking I really existed. Chao Na had to go along with her words. Otherwise, Xia Yunshu would immediately refuse to cooperate. But have you thought, why doesn't AU appear? According to what you said, AU and Huiqing's responsibilities both lie with you. Why is it only Huiqing who comes to trouble you? Xia Yunshu clearly couldn't answer. For a long time, she pondered, hurriedly drew a conclusion. I deserve to die. She was always difficult to communicate with like this. Chao Na had accepted this. Interaction mode. Anyway, Xia Yunshu didn't harm others, not to the point of needing forced confinement, could only try to prescribe medication for her. This was also what Xia Yunshu wanted. She had no intention of untangling the knot in her heart, only wanted these drugs to temporarily numb her, so she could complete her work smoothly. Outsiders all said Xia Yunshu was successful, how excellent she was, only she knew. The money earned now was completely insufficient. Last year, the money I sent to the Hope Project before dying became one of the 2 reasons she worked hard. She had donated a lot of money, but it still wasn't enough. Xia Yunshu carried her bag of medicine to the car. The phone made a ding-dong sound. It was a message from the university class leader. This Sunday, organizing an 8-year reunion since graduation. Everyone in this city, come all. She wasn't interested at all. Silently deleted the message. Let's start the reunion. Everyone in this city, come all. She wasn't interested at all. Silently deleted the message. Drove to the cemetery. No matter what, the Xia family wouldn't allow my grave to be next to Xia Yu's. Xia Yunshu didn't force it. She found the nearest tombstone, so the 2 brothers could lean on each other and talk. Holding a bottle of alcohol, she sat down on the ground. Xia Yunshu's face showed some haziness. Brother, helped sister ask Huiqing. When will he let me die? On Xia Yu's tombstone, he smiled brightly. The sunlight still paused at his happiest college days. While Xia Yunshu was already past 30, winter in the capital was as cold as being placed in a refrigerator. Xia Yunshu rarely had a good night's sleep last night. When she woke up, it was already 11 o'clock. She turned off the alarm, turned over and got out of bed. The side effect of the medicine was that she could only sleep until naturally waking up. Fortunately, today there was no difficult work to handle. She remembered yesterday, Chao Na told her, she should go outside and be closer to nature more often. Perhaps it could help her mental state improve. Xia Yunshu disdained this, but also couldn't think of where she could go. It seemed that apart from the psychologist she had known for these 3 years, she had no friends, or had no one to whom she could confide all these things. Perhaps following her advice more would make her feel a bit better. Xia Yunshu flipped through her wardrobe to see what to wear. After I died, there was no one to help her match clothes, even outfits suitable for each occasion. Therefore, whether it was a large business party or daily work, she could only pick out simple outfits that weren't wrong to cope with situations, like today's down jacket and sports pants. Actually couldn't be considered harmonious. Fortunately, her figure was good, barely acceptable looking. There were many parks big and small. Xia Yunshu randomly chose one the farthest away. She wasn't interested in going out to play, but the time spent driving and listening to light music at least could help her not be distracted. The 1-hour journey was neither long nor short, but that playlist had been played over and over. They were songs I liked. Taking advantage of a red light, before the car started, from behind came a slight impact sensation. Xia Yunshu looked in the rear-view mirror. It was a young man on an electric bicycle, looking at the back of her car with a frightened expression. The young man was so worried his eyes turned red. I am sorry, miss. Xia Yunshu's car was still the Panamera from years ago. She looked at that scratch, indifferently, sat back in the car. Though, young man chased after her, choked up saying, "I'll compensate you. Please leave your contact information." He was very young, making Xia Yunshu remember me in college. I also used to speed through the cold mornings of the capital, running to distant places to tutor. So Xia Yunshu shook her head. It's not necessary. The young man shook his head. It's okay. The young man insisted on compensating. But Xia Yunshu knew this amount wasn't small, at least 30,000. She was a bit impatient, directly stepped on the gas and drove away. Northern winter, the leaves had all fallen. This season also had few children coming to the park to play, but just entering the gate, Xia Yunshu already heard happy laughter. Xia Yunshu looked from afar. Not interested, she walked away. It seemed to be a family. The man carrying a child was laughing heartily. The woman was bending down, sitting on the picnic blanket beside them, dressed very thickly, extending her hand to arrange dishes. How happy, she evaluated inwardly. If that year, Xia Yu hadn't died, if she had stayed with me, now our children would also be this big. In the park, there was a large lake. Since my death, Xia Yunshu had been somewhat afraid of water, but today somehow she very much wanted to go near and see, and the lake surface rippled due to the light wind. Looking at the overlapping ripples for a long time, as if about to be sucked in, from behind came an urgent voice. Beautiful big sister, what are you doing? Xia Yunshu turned her head, saw a face she thought she would never see again in this life. She took a step back, discovered half of her body had been leaning on the railing. No wonder He Zhao Yu thought she was trying to commit suicide. The two faced each other in silence for 1 minute, until the little girl in He Zhao Yu's arms tilted her head, curiously looking at Xia Yunshu. Sister, what are you doing? Perhaps it had been too long since she had spoken. When Xia Yunshu opened her mouth, she even stuttered slightly. I am admiring the scenery. The little girl was very understanding. Then sister should stand back a bit. Don't fall into the lake. The water is very cold. He Zhao Yu still didn't speak. This was 3 years ago. After I died, Xia Yunshu came to see me for the last time, was beaten badly by He Zhao Yu. The first time they met, He Zhao Yu curled the corner of her mouth. What a coincidence. That smile had no warmth at all, cold as ice. Long time no see, Director Shai. Long time no see, like her soul was pushed out of her body. Xia Yunshu emotionlessly looked at He Zhao Yu, noticing her clenched fist and the innocent face of the little girl. Her voice was so dreamy that even she couldn't hear it clearly. Xia Yunshu coldly looked at He Zhao Yu, said, You're married already? Congratulations. The little girl seemed very used to explaining this routine. Giggled, This is my aunt, not my mother. Auntie, do I look like you? Everyone says so. He Zhao Yu clearly didn't want the little girl to talk too much with Xia Yunshu. All right, darling, don't talk to strangers. He Zhao Yu's expression was very bad. Hearing her talk so much with Xia Yunshu. All right, darling, don't talk to strangers. He Zhao Yu's expression was very bad. The little girl obediently hugged her neck. She leaned on her shoulder, stuck out her tongue at Xia Yunshu, then waved at her. Xia Yunshu reflexively waved back. He Zhao Yu turned around again. Xia Yunshu thought. Last year, she knew He Zhao Yu resigned from the hospital. Seemingly went directly to another province. Didn't expect to see her again. Actually, He Zhao Yu as a doctor was no match for Xia Yunshu. Last year, what they had couldn't be called a fight, but rather He Zhao Yu unilaterally pinned her to the ground, beat her for a long time. She had no strength to resist. In the violence of consecutive punches, had one tooth broken. Sometimes, when licking that missing molar, her mouth cavity and head would ache dully. Xia Yunshu's body was forever missing a piece, just as she had forever lost me, pain that couldn't be forgotten. But He Zhao Yu was raising a child with another man. This was really beyond Xia Yunshu's expectations. She thought He Zhao Yu would be like her, never love anyone again in this life. But this was also very normal. It was her own presumption, being the one who erected a tombstone for me, but didn't die, living like a widow. All were consequences of her own actions. If not for Xia Yunshu torturing me in countless ways, how would I have committed suicide in the freezing lake water? It was her extreme coldness and cruelty. So I, Xia Yu's best friend, before his death, no less sad than anyone else. But their whole family used sharp quills to drive away a heartbroken bird wanting to rest temporarily. Xia Yunshu couldn't forgive my family, also couldn't forgive herself. When He Zhao Yue carried Jingxing back to the car, she found the heater was fully on. I had leaned on the back seat and fallen asleep. She signaled Xingxing to be quiet. The little girl immediately obediently covered her mouth. The sound of the car door opening still woke me up. I rubbed my eyes, my voice still dreamy and vague. What's up? Anything wrong? Give Jingxing to me. Nothing. He Zhao Yu really hated being nosy. If she had discovered earlier, the person standing by the water was Xia Yunshu. She wouldn't have cared for even a second. Mistaken, they're fishing. Xingxing, nestled against my chest, looking up sweetly said, Dad, thank you for taking me out to play today. I smiled, kissed her rosy cheek. Nothing, darling. Did you thank Auntie? Xingxing huffed, then immediately became obedient again. Auntie likes going out even more than I do. Dad, after you go back today, will it be? After you go back today, will it be several days before you can come out again? Xingxing misses Dad. What should we do? No, this time when Dad goes back. It's so Jingxing can see Dad every day. Last year, I almost died in the water. It was He Zhao Yu who disregarded the danger to her own life. Saved me. My illness had reached a dangerous edge. If not for He Zhao Yu, I certainly wouldn't have lived until now. Nursing for 3 full years, I finally recovered to a physical state that could undergo surgery. Several hospitals in the south all said it was too risky. Bringing me back to the capital was really a last resort. He Xiaoyu spent effort to fake my death. Having just met Xia Yunshu, her back was already covered in cold sweat. What a lingering nightmare. When Xingxing was even younger, my health was even worse to the extent I couldn't hold her for long periods. Sometimes I had to go into the chemotherapy chamber at the hospital. One separation meant several months. That's why Xingxing was worried. This time, after taking her out to play, it would be a long time before seeing each other again. This was also why I didn't agree to conservative treatment. Xingxing stayed with Yi Xiaoyu longer, but surprisingly was very close to me. Really couldn't bear to see my daughter's little face, showing longing but restraint. When younger, Xingxing often cried wanting to find Dad, but when older, the little girl understood. Dad was sick, so couldn't hold her for long. Take her out to play. She became more understanding, more obedient, never clinging to me to cause more burden. Having such a child is very hard but very lucky. At that time, I had no hope of living. I was very moved. He Xiaoyu risked her life to save me, but I still couldn't find the will to live. Cancer was like a greedy beast, swallowing He Xiaoyu's assets in large chunks. Many times I wanted to die, didn't want to trouble anyone else, until He Xiaoyu brought home a child still learning to speak. She was so small, her face soft, delicate like a flower petal. Even when crying, it was gentle, her small hand gripping my finger. I confusedly looked toward He Xiaoyu. On the big and small faces, both showed the same confusion. He Xiaoyu took a deep breath, sadly said, "This is my sister's child." Her husband was a soldier. After sacrificing for the country, she committed suicide to follow him. The baby is only 1.5. Can we raise her together? Only then did I know. He Xiaoyu's savings as a doctor had long been used up for my frequent serious illness. Now all my treatment costs were the subsidy and inheritance from parents left for Xingxing. I hugged this child who had lost both parents tightly, as if hugging myself. From childhood, the subsidy and inheritance from parents left for Xingxing. I hugged this child who had lost both parents tightly, as if hugging myself from childhood. Tears fell. From that day on, I never thought about suicide again in my life. Added one more important person in He Xiaoyu. Needed me to raise this small child to adulthood. That heavy responsibility became the anchor for me to continue living. I love Xingxing, just as Xingxing loves me, no matter how cold outside. Inside the car was still like a warm harbor. Xingxing had received Dad's promise, contentedly slept, dozed off. I took off the scarf for the little girl, voice flat. The person by the lake was Yi Yunshu, right? He Xiaoyu's hand on the steering wheel tightened. She instinctively wanted to deny it, but could only remain silent for long, and I received my answer in this silence. I smiled, the corners of my eyes gently spread like willow leaves. He Xiaoyu, what are you afraid of? He Xiaoyu looked at the continent. In a deep voice, said, I am not. I still with that clear voice, but firmly, I won't love that person anymore. He Xiaoyu, I won't again once more, and once again humiliate myself. He Xiaoyu only hated herself for being clumsy. I didn't mean that, but she saw me in the back seat through the rearview mirror, the corner of my mouth carrying a faint smile, not showing any sadness or forcing. My eyes sparkled. He Xiaoyu, you're really silly. How peculiar, being called silly, but He Xiaoyu felt sweet. She had to admit, she was really worried whether I would love Xia Yunshu again, even more afraid I would be hurt again. The scene from last year also became her psychological shadow, seeing me unconscious in the lake. He Xiaoyu had never been so calm. She didn't ask my permission, directly canceled my account for me, took me to the south. Now it seemed like the continuation of a nightmare. Seeing Xia Yunshu again, she instinctively clenched her fist. If not holding the child, she would certainly have beaten Xia Yunshu. After I said that sentence, I fell silent. I lowered my eyes, with a faint smile, caressing the sleeping and slightly red face of my daughter. For 3 years, He Xiaoyu hadn't confessed. She had loved me for a long time, but due to awkwardness and Xia Yunshu's interruption, missed one after another. So many moments of leaning on each other. He Xiaoyu just thought being able to protect me well was enough. Me being happy was enough. I didn't care if I loved her or not. Just being together, me and Xingxing, for He Xiaoyu, was already the greatest luck. At this moment, she heard something from my voice with a hint of pampering. Her heart beat uncontrollably, as if sensing what was about to happen. She was flustered. After stopping the car, opened the back door, reached out to carry the sleeping Xingxing, but I raised my hand to stop what she was about to say. Due to illness, I was now white as snow. Dark black eyes, smiling, said, later, let's talk later. I am not a piece of wood or metal. He Xiaoyu's meticulous care over the past 3 years had long warmed my heart that Xia Yunshu had made cold, just that when my cancer wasn't cured. How could I dare promise anything? But it didn't mean I would always leave He Xiaoyu hanging like this. After receiving good news from the medical consultation, I had decided one thing. As long as I could survive the surgery, I was willing to try entrusting my wounded self completely to He Xiaoyu. That's how wonderful love is. I looked at Yi Enjing dreamily sleepy, gently patted her back. Whether a company is big or small, the end of the year is always crazy busy. Su Xian, though just a receptionist, these days received twice as many guests as before. He had been working for more than half a month. The conjectures he and Xian had made didn't come true, except for standing until his feet hurt, compared to his previous job. It was considered much more leisurely. The receptionist changing shifts with Su Xian was also not old. Hearing his worries before taking the job, laughed. You thought quite well. Do you know how many people line up, wanting to flatter Director Xia? Su Xian laughed awkwardly. He also realized his exaggeration. Xia Yunshu was usually in a hurry, walking past the reception desk. She wouldn't glance this way once all day. The boldest thing she ever did was to call, asking them to bring takeout food up. He had been curious. What would a director at this level eat? But each time, Xia Yunshu's takeout was small and edible, sometimes all day, not seeing her eat a bite. When Xia Yunshu walked past the reception desk, saw two young men whispering. She rarely showed a slight smile. Gentle eyes. Su Xian hurriedly closed his mouth, stood up and bowed, saying, Young Director Xia, hello. After speaking, he almost slapped himself. Usually used to talking like this with Xia, unexpectedly slipped out. Xia Yunshu didn't seem to mind much, nodded to him. Have you gotten used to it? Su Xian happily replied. Everything is good. After hearing this, Xia Yunshu smiled, quickly walked away. Su Xian hugged his face, couldn't help sighing. Director Xia is so beautiful, so gentle. Just that Director Jia is really too thin. Is she on a diet? The senior colleague smiled, looking at him. Director Xia is really so beautiful, so gentle. Just that Director Jia is really too thin. Is she on a diet? The senior colleague smiled, looking at him. Director Xia doesn't like eating much, but pay attention to your attitude. These words startled Su Xian. He shook his head, seriously said, Yes. Xia Yunshu just now thought of me and Xia Yu joking around, like in college days. The two of us like small animals crowding together, whispering. That scene was what Xia Yunshu wanted to return to all her life. But she couldn't, also couldn't do it. In this world, there is no medicine for regret. Today, she had to go to the hospital to discuss cooperation. She wore a more formal outfit. Her neck and arms were cold, breaking out in goosebumps, but the car heater wasn't turned on. Because Xia Yunshu now remembered me before, also by her with such cruel methods driven outside. Thin clothes standing in the capital's winter. She used this method to punish herself. The deputy director had come out to meet her. Previously, when Xia Yunshu still worked at the Xia family, had once conducted a connection with their medical equipment, but his expression was clearly a bit awkward. Reluctantly said, Yunshu, it's not that we don't want to cooperate with you. This new drug research. With your father, the director said so. On Xia Yunshu's shoulder was some snow melted by the heater. She nodded, stood still. It's all right, uncle, I'll wait here. Ask if the director wants to see me. The deputy director sighed. Oh, this child is a good child. How did you argue with your family to this extent? He looked at the drenched Xia Yunshu, still softened his heart, called the director's office, then turned his head to tell Xia Yunshu. Wait here. The director says he's busy. Xia Yunshu smiled and said, yes. She stood straight outside the office. No one knew. The shoes on her feet were wet from snow on the road, but still stood straight as a pine tree. The deputy director was also very busy. Sold her this promise. Turned and returned to his office. Suddenly, a small figure bumped into his leg. Xia Yunshu lowered her head, saw a small head with a strawberry-shaped hair tie. The little girl seemed dazed from the impact, touching her forehead, not crying. Looked up at her. It was He Jiaoyu's child. He Jiaoyu had been a doctor at this hospital. This was what Xia Yunshu knew. But why did she bring her child to this place? Where was He Jiaoyu? Countless questions swirled in her mind. The urgent matter was to return the little girl. Xia Yunshu sat down to look at the girl. The little girl immediately looked back at Xia Yunshu with vigilant eyes. She reached out her hand. The little girl stepped back, wrinkled her nose, and said, Are you a teacher? She reached out her hand. The little girl stepped back, wrinkled her nose, and said, Are you a teacher? Auntie said you're a bad person. Children speak without restraint. Xia Yunshu didn't take offense. She was only worried the little girl was lost. Looking at the small name tag on her chest. Why are you alone here? Your name is Jingxing? Xingxing said loudly. Yes, my name is Jingxing. My dad's name is Huaiqing. A heart as if hit by a heavy hammer suddenly stole her breath away. Xia Yunshu grabbed Jingxing's small arm, anxiously asked, What's your dad's name? Xingxing opened her eyes wide, looking scared at her. Huaiqing, miss. You're hurting me. In a blink, Xia Yunshu was angrily pushed away by He Jiaoyu. Let go of her. She picked up Xingxing, angrily looked at the person sitting on the floor. Xia Yunshu, what are you trying to do? Xia Yunshu completely didn't care about her loss of face. She seemed bewitched, stood up, stepped forward, looking at Xingxing hopefully. Tell me what your dad's name is? Xingxing was only 4.5, scared to tears, tightly hugged He Jiaoyu's neck, turned her face away, not wanting to look at her. Seeing Xia Yunshu about to step forward, He Jiaoyu slapped her hard on the face. She shouted at the falling Xia Yunshu, Get out! Xia Yunshu, what deep affection are you acting out? The person who caused Huaiqing's death was you. Now the person going crazy is also you. If you're sick, go get treated. In the future, if I see you once, I'll hit you once. Xia Yunshu wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. Watching, he Xiao Yu gently comforting Xingxing while hurriedly leaving. She suddenly said, I remember. Most recently, it's the oncology department. He Xiao Yu, who in your family is sick? The silhouette stiffened. After a moment, He Xiao Yue laughed coldly. What does it have to do with you? An unbelievable thought appeared in Xia Yunshu's mind when standing up, just as the deputy director pushed open the door. Surprised, said, Yunshu, what's wrong? Yunshu wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. It's nothing, uncle. Her face was extremely calm. Her hands by her side uncontrollably trembled. The deputy director felt a bit guilty, saying, Oh, Yunshu, come again next time. Just received notification from security, saying the director has gone out. Yunshu said softly, It's all right, uncle. Can I ask you for another favor? The deputy director looked at her with some concern. Whatever I can help with. I'll try to help you. The lowered eyes of Yunshu flashed with an unusual light. The corner of her mouth curled into a smile. Cold but like smiling from extreme anger or crying from extreme joy. Please help me find a person. Negative 29 years old. Possibly recently admitted. Male. I have a reference name. May not be called this name. Yi Huaxing very possibly is that person. Negative 29 years old. Possibly recently admitted. Male. I have a reference name. May not be called this name. Uncle. Anyone who meets the criteria. Can I see their medical records? His name is Yi Huaxing. He Xiao Yu was troubled inside, but still continued to comfort Xingxing until the little girl stopped sobbing, then seriously pinched her cheek, saying, In the future, absolutely do not run around. Understand? What if you get kidnapped? I wanted to buy candy for Dad. The doctor just prescribed Dad many bitter medicines again. Xingxing pouted and was about to cry. I am sorry, Auntie. Please don't be angry with me. These words melted He Xiao Yu's heart. She hugged Xingxing to her chest, patted her head. Not angry, Auntie, just afraid that Xingxing would disappear. Auntie would be very sad. Xingxing said in a childish voice. I know. I won't dare run around anymore. He Xiao Yu wiped away Xingxing's tears, gently sighed. She knew Xia Yunshu had begun to suspect. Someone like her, as soon as she discovers something abnormal, would be like a shark biting a piece of meat, wanting to swallow it to fully understand no matter what, let alone something related to me. For half a month, she had heard quite a few rumors about Xia Yunshu. Anyway, rumors exaggerated to the point that terrified He Xiao Yu, wanting to hide it from me. Very difficult. The doctor removed his mask. After leaving the consultation room, he said to He Xiao Yu, The patient's current condition is quite stable, considering his cancer cells have been in his body for several years. The hospital's suggestion is surgery as soon as possible. I've checked the duty schedule. At the latest, it must be done next week. What does the family think? On one hand, Xia Yunshu had discovered us. On the other hand, my health had recovered to the point where there was almost no need for consideration. He Xiao Yu chose the latter, decisively said, We also think sooner is better. Doctor, please arrange it. The doctor also nodded, saying, All right, go complete the hospitalization procedures. Xingxing had run into the hospital room and hugged me. Both of them tacitly understood not to mention the incident of nearly getting lost. The little girl took out colorful candies from her bag, gave them to me, her eyes bright and sparkling. Dad, eat this and the medicine won't be bitter anymore. I kissed her cheek, hugged her to my chest, said softly, Thank you, little Xingxing. Dad is about to have surgery. We may not see each other for a while again. Xingxing nestled against me, giggled. It's okay. Dad, I am not afraid. Auntie said, After this surgery, Dad will be with me forever. Dad, don't be afraid either. Xingxing and Auntie are both waiting for Dad. The child's words softened my heart, stroking my daughter's soft hair. I smiled. Okay, I'll listen to Xingxing. I feel I truly owe them both so much. Before, I was solely focused on wanting to die. Owe them both so much. Before, I was solely focused on wanting to die. Toward He Xiao Yu's warm affection, I didn't even bother to look until Xingxing appeared by my side. Only then did I pull my gaze away from the abyss of death. Falling to the mortal world, I saw a ray of light belonging to me. Whether it was Xingxing's thoughtful understanding or He Xiao Yu's silence, yet doing everything so well, they were all treasures, rare and precious to me. Thinking back about Xia Yunshu, in my heart was only calmness. How could I not understand my best friend? I clearly understood Xia Yu, not at all like how the Xia family accused and hated me, but that tormented pain still could not be soothed. If death was said to be able to atone for my sins, then I had already washed them clean, like that day in the freezing cold river water, when rescued by He Xiao Yu. The tears of worry had all fallen into my frozen heart. My survival instinct was too weak. He Xiao Yu had shouted loudly, Even if you don't want to live, you must live. Now your life is not just yours, but also mine. He Xiao Yu's not allowed to die. Now half of my soul belongs to He Xiao Yu. I think, even if Xia Yunshu appeared before me now, demanding I pay with my life for Xia Yu's, I would no longer choose death. My surgery was scheduled for the end of this week. He Xiao Yu took Xingxing to stay at her cousin's home temporarily. The little girl was very strong, clenching her fist. Dad, I'll wait for you to come back. I gently kissed her cheek. Okay, Xingxing. After the surgery is done, Dad will take you to the amusement park. Xingxing happily said. Auntie has to come too. I waved my hand saying, No problem. Watching He Zhaoyue carry Xingxing into the car, fasten the seatbelt, instructing to be careful on the road. Actually, I wasn't as calm as I appeared, couldn't help feeling a bit nervous inside. I last year absolutely didn't think that my current self would desire to live. I still have Xingjing, still have He Zhaoyu. Nothing can defeat me, thinking this way. My mood became calmer. My hospital room was in a very good location. Looking out from the window, opposite was a snow-white forest mountain. The winter afternoon sunlight carried some warmth. I pulled a chair to sit by the window. From the door came a slow knocking sound. I looked at the time. It was when doctors did their rounds. I raised my voice, said, "Come in." Turned around smiling. My expression froze. It was Xia Yunshu. 3 years' time had made her look much more mature. Her figure wrapped in a wind jacket had grown much thinner. Her face changed, becoming delicate and cold. Black eyebrows heavily pressed over her eyes, but couldn't hide the frantic joy. Xia Yunshu's voice trembled, emotion too excited causing her to almost lose her voice. "Huaiqing, I've found you." She stepped forward. The large bouquet in reek. Her hand fell to the ground. 2 or 3 steps she ran over, bent down and hugged me sitting in the chair. "I found you. Huaiqing, I was only surprised for a moment, then calmed down. I knew being discovered by Xia Yunshu was just a matter of time, so I didn't try to struggle. The woman's arms tightly gripped my shoulders. I felt hot liquid from her collar dripping down, wetting a small patch of skin on my neck. I flatly said, "It's me, Xia Yunshu, long time no see." Xia Yunshu cried until trembling. She gasped for breath, her breathing chaotic, words also broken. Why seek death? Why didn't you tell me when you got sick? Why did you lie to me?" A woman over 30 years old, crying like a child who had been deceived. She neurotically hugged me tightly, repeatedly calling my name, as if thinking this was a ghost in a dream. I felt a bit annoyed, frowned slightly, saying, "Xia Yunshu, if you don't let go of me, it'll be squeezed to death." Xia Yunshu stepped back, her legs weak as she sat down heavily on the floor, looking up at me in the chair. She cried miserably, eyebrows, eyes, nose all red, forehead wet. Not knowing if it was sweat or blood, her hands were still shaking, holding my cold and thin hand, trying to suppress her sobs, but tears still kept flowing out. Xia Yunshu being this disheveled, I had only seen once before. It was when Xia Yu passed away. She tightly gripped my hand that was pulling back, voice still trembling. "Don't go, Yi Huaiqing. Please don't go." I didn't hesitate, once again pulled my hand from hers, lowered my eyes looking at Xia Yunshu. "I am not planning to go, but perhaps you should go now." Xia Yunshu's lips turned pale. She seemed to understand my undisguised rejection. Attitude slowly remembering what she herself had done before. The corner of my mouth carried a slight smile, but it didn't reach my eyes. My voice was very soft. "Forgot to say hello. Xia Yunshu, how are you? Do you have children yet? Forgot to tell you. I am already married to He Zhaoyue. Our daughter is named Xingjing. You've probably met her already." These words were like a hammer striking Xia Yunshu's head. Her ears made a buzzing sound, the sound of electric current passing through her eardrum, as if at that moment she couldn't hear any sound anymore, making her feel extremely confused, lips trembling, but couldn't say a word. Panicked. I looked at her suddenly changed expression, feeling a bit amused. Panicked. I looked at her suddenly changed expression, feeling a bit amused. So, this is how I once looked when I loved Xia Yunshu. Being mocked, being looked down upon was too normal. Xia Yunshu stood up, dazedly nodded, awkwardly said, "Yes, Eve met her. Very beautiful. Huaiqing, you." She was about to say that she would help pay for my surgery costs. I seemed to anticipate this, stopped her from continuing. I said softly, "I've already had such a hard time gathering enough courage to embrace the intention to live for the surgery. Xia Yunshu, don't force me to die once more." The words were like sharp knives, so quick they sliced off her flesh. Only then did large streams of blood gush out, painful to the point her heart and lungs couldn't continue functioning, covering her chest gasping for breath just to regain composure. Xia Yunshu couldn't stand steadily, leaned on the head of the bed, face pale white, like yellow paper. She knew I was capable of it, so didn't dare say a word, awkwardly nodded.
turned and walked to the door.
It was 5 years. What I did wasn't completely asking for your forgiveness. I was sad for AU. Standing from the Shia family's perspective, I indeed should have died. What I should have done was die with AU that day, not live alone. But you know what? That day, lying on the operating table, the moment I almost died, I saw AU. He stood beside me, pulling me across a wide river, until the river water reached the waist, reached the chest. I never struggled. I believed AU wouldn't harm me, even less hate me. Indeed, when reaching the destination, he reproached me. Why did you come so early? Had promised to live well for my share. That was the most beautiful dream I dreamed in 8 years. In the dream was my best friend from youth, on the boundary river between life and death, being my mast and rudder, leading me toward hope. I know Xia Yu was such a kind and gentle youth. If that day, the person who died at the hands of the bad guys was me, being my mast and rudder, leading me toward hope. I know Xia Yu was such a kind and gentle youth. If that day, the person who died at the hands of the bad guys was me, I would absolutely not blame AU either, just as AU absolutely doesn't blame me. Tears fell like a broken string. I wiped the tears, said to Xia Yunshu, who was also dazedly shedding tears. So, do you understand now? Now I don't live for myself. I live for AU. Live for Jingzheng. Also live for he. Zhao Yu. Xia Yunshu. Do you think AU wants to see you die? I have forgiven you. Continue to live. She gently nodded. Xia Yunshu. Goodbye. He Zhao Yu's fist tightened, then relaxed. She saw me with reddened eyes walking back. Almost got out of the car to beat Xia Yunshu. I discovered sometimes she only appeared mature. Actually was also very impulsive. I reluctantly said, "You've already beaten her several times. She's now injured. Please." He Zhao Yu pouted, dissatisfied, saying, "Why are you still biased toward her? After all, who is your girlfriend?" Huh? He Zhao Yu? Who else? Anyone else? Xing raised her hand. Me. I am Dad's girlfriend. The little girl clearly didn't understand the meaning of girlfriend. He Zhao Yu hugged the little girl to her chest, rubbing her twice. Fiercely said, "Isn't it Auntie? For this lifetime it's Auntie. You want to be Dad's girlfriend? Not possible." I smiled, saying, Xing is Dad's little treasure. Girlfriend isn't an easy position to take. Let Auntie do it. Xing laughed, nodding. Okay. He Zhao Yu drove, while saying, Xingxing should go to kindergarten now. When spring comes, we'll find a school for her. Not this semester. I was a bit reluctant. Wait until we go back to the South. The warm South is where my heart belongs. I grew up in the South since childhood, until going to college and meeting Xia Yunshu, then chose to settle here, having other choices. Naturally wouldn't stay in this place. Half a year later, poor Su Xian said, Sister, you must come. I don't have many friends. If you don't come, a table won't be full. I was leading Jing playing with watercolors. Hearing this, couldn't help laughing. How is that possible? How could you lack friends? He Zhao Yu was extremely helpless. Don't mind him. Taking a toy block from Xing's mouth, glaring and pointing at him. Xing wasn't afraid of her at all. Instead, stuck out her tongue at her. Huaiqing, do you want to go? I nodded, replying, Of course. He's your cousin. He Zhao Yu and I bought a house in Yu City. Xing also successfully entered kindergarten here, although the little girl went to school 1 year later than other children, but never fearful or timid, growing up healthy and lively. Sometimes looking at her, I would think of that somewhat faded face in my memory. Our family drove up north, still some time before the wedding day, so we went leisurely sightseeing. In college days, I very much admired those classmates who could travel everywhere. After all, someone who lost parents like me could only barely maintain my own life. Although the relationship with Xia Yu was very good, I also wasn't really comfortable accepting someone else paying for everything to take me out. The days of traveling mountains and waters, my health recovered very well. Passing through a province with famous mountains, He Zhao Yue even led Xing and me to climb a mountain together. The process, though extremely tiring, but the moment standing on the mountaintop felt enlightened, like my mood over the past half year. When arriving in the capital, Su Xian hurriedly welcomed our whole family to the small villa he had borrowed money to buy. The wedding photos would be taken after 3 days. Looking at Su Xian wearing a suit, my heart suddenly felt a bit moved. Everything was ready. The wedding music played melodiously under the piano. Xing wasn't shy at all, carrying a flower basket walking behind Su Xian. Her adorable appearance made everyone present unable to help smiling until the solemn ceremony ended. I only then discovered He Zhao Yu wasn't beside me. I looked around. In the crowd stood an unexpected figure. Xia Yunshu still maintained that cold manner, but her spirit much better than before. Our eyes met in the air. I raised my glass. Xia Yunshu did the same. It seemed after this glass of wine, the love and hatred of before, all joys and sorrows were erased. The moment the bride threw the bouquet, I was excitedly pulled up by Xing. The bride repeatedly threw behind her, but the bouquet always firmly in her hand. She had to grasp her wide dress, turn and run to stand in front of me. The moment the bouquet was stuffed into my hand, I was stunned. Thunderous applause. Guests automatically opened a small path. Standing there was He Zhao Yu in a party dress, walking nervously. The moment our eyes met, my eyes reddened. He Zhao Yu's hand trembled. She was so nervous her lips were slightly pale. Huaiqing, Thousand words couldn't express my mood at this moment. He Zhao, you held the exquisite ring before me, and the bride and groom smiled, opening fireworks and flower petals for us. Under the flying golden fragments, the person I love chokingly proposed. Watching, I love you. Do you want to marry me? I reached out, embracing her. I want to. This is the happiness I use much strength to welcome. From here is a long and beautiful life.